Welcome back, everyone. Welcome our investment club members and the YouTube channel. So people out there, thank you for attending. And today's topic will be, we are entering into a epic renters nation. All right. And welcome back. Once again, this is Seewing Yee from the Yee Real Estate Network. And once again, my co-host is Julie.
Good morning.
Yes, thank you for taking time out of your very busy day, Julie. Once again, in case you have not heard our previous podcasts and videos in the past, she will be pretty much a regular co-presenter of my podcast because I see her value in presenting all the topics we're discussing. And not only that, she's one of our best networking investors within our organization. And although she have a very late start in her real estate journey, but I tell you what, she really ramped up very quickly. So she have a total of 6 rental properties, and she purchased part of our network. And she's in a way she could call herself a newbie. She's still a newbie, and Julie have a thirsty for knowledge, and it's a great educational journey for you to continue with your real estate journey, with your great portfolio. Yeah. So you have one quick comment about your journey, your experience so far?
It's been a great experience. Thank you again for having me, Seewing, because I just love sharing with your audience. And I just really want to encourage people. You can do it. As Seewing said, I'm a newbie. I've only had most of my properties I've had less than 2 years. So it's a new journey for me. I'm looking forward to continuing this journey and relationship with you, Seewing, because I've been able to learn so much just under your teaching. So I just appreciate this time to be able to share.
My pleasure. So without further ado, let me share my slideshow screen. And here it is. Let me hold on. Okay. So here's the title: Landlord Profit from Historic Rise in Renters Nation. I'm gonna go quickly. I'm gonna go over like 5 or 6 slides real quick. I'm gonna have you just make a quick comment when I ask you to do, and go into more details about why, as a real estate investor, you guys out there, when there's a crisis, there's an opportunity. And for these investors, there's opportunity for you to make money today, tomorrow, and long-term future.
Absolutely.
Because as a landlord, as a potential landlord, you can profit from historic rise in renters nation, meaning there will be more people entering the rental pool than ever before in history of America.
Mm-hmm. I believe that. Yes.
in the history of the world. So that means money in your pocket, landlords. Cha-ching.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So let me give you some underlying data. It's important to understand the real data, real charts, so you can make an informed decision instead of just being overwhelmed of watching the crash bros out there, the crash porn videos that always preach doom and gloom that will destroy people's wealth building by paralyzing a lot of people by listening to these inaccurate, very misleading, negative doom and gloom. The sky is falling scenarios, which is not happening. All right. So with that said, let's quickly go through my several slides. Existing home sale has been at a downward trajectory lately. Not only lately, it's been down. Mm-hmm. It's been down for a number of years, and right now it's getting worse and worse in terms of sales, in terms of home transaction, because there are so few houses for sale out there. And for the existing homeowner, which is a mind-boggling, everything we discuss is very historic. We have a lock-in effect. Lock-in effect means that current homeowners who have existing mortgages as you can see, the chart, hopefully, do you know 63% of the current mortgage homeowners right now, they have a mortgage rate between 3 and 3.99%. And you have 20% of the mortgage homeowners have a mortgage rate of 30-year fixed rate of 2 to 2.99%.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
60% of mortgage holders have a mortgage rate between 4 and 4.99%, and only 1% of the mortgage holders have an interest rate of 5 to 5.99%. And finally, 40% of homeowners in the country have no mortgages. Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah. So the people who own mortgages, this is your asset. Your underlying debt that are collateralized by your home is, by definition, is your wealth. This is your asset. This is your wealth building. So people are not going to get rid of their low historical mortgage at an average of 3% to buy a new house, to move up to buy a new house costs more today, and at 8% rate, it's not going to happen. So the lock-in effect will going to persist for a very long time to come. Julie, you have a quick comment about this?
I just think it's very interesting. Wow, I wish I'd have been in business a few years ago because I've been interest rates so low. Actually got in pretty good. We've got a couple that are in the 4s. So that was pretty good. And then they started to creep up. But even still, with the interest rate, rising interest rate, I think what we were able to do is we still made a good move, and we're still able to cash flow even with the higher interest rates.
Yep. That's right. You got in at a good time. You got in years ago, so you're doing well. So anyway, we have nationwide, historically speaking, in America's history, there's a record high equity. People have more equity than ever before. So it pays to become a homeowner and an investor as well. As you can see, the historical chart, ever since from the 1970s, you can see the very consistent rise in equity, with one exception, which is the housing crash of 2008 to 2010. That was the only downward trend. That was the only cycle within the past 50, 60, 70 years. We have a crash. Otherwise, it's a long-term buy and hold. Investors and homeowners will continue to achieve massive amount of equity over time. So that's what's happening. And the reference information showing that the supply of inventory is at around 3 months nationwide. So the supply of inventory is at almost pretty much a historical low, and we're still seeing demand out there, even at an elevated 8% mortgage rate. Yes, the demand has subsided drastically because of higher mortgage rate. However, there are still more qualified buyers than there are available homes to sell. Economics 101, when demand or
supply and demand.
Supply demand, economics 101, that teach you at 9th grade.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. Even right now, demand is greater than supply, so that will put a higher pressure on home prices.
Exactly.
And then, for anybody that did not buy a home in the past 3 years, look at this amazing or just very disturbing trend. In 2021, when the median price of a home is around $275,000, the monthly mortgage at around 3 to 4% mortgage rate, the monthly mortgage is around $1,500, as you can see right here, $1,500. Today, the median price of a home is like almost $400,000 and an 8% mortgage rate. Your person's mortgage payment is $2,730. From $1,500 monthly mortgage a couple of years ago to $2,700. So really, you could pretty much say that the mortgage payment has doubled, have increased almost 100% in the near 2 years.
Right. That's very interesting. But then it's interesting. The payment has gone up, but then the equity position has gone up as well because prices are rising. So they go hand in hand.
Yeah. So for people, now another way of looking at it, the people, the homeowners that didn't pull the trigger 2 or 3 years ago, they regret it because
Yes.
right now the mortgage payment is twice the amount.
Very good point. Very good point.
So that's very sad. And let me see, the medium sales price, all the people predicting a housing crash in the past 2 years, it did not happen. Houses did not decrease, only slightly temporarily late last year. Slight home prices decreases, especially in the West Coast, Western region of the U.S., but other area of the U.S., Midwest and South and Southeast, we did not see price decreases in the past few years, contrary to all the negative headlines, all the doom and gloom, and all the crash flows out there, distorting the information. Home prices still are consistently very stable right now, as you can see by the chart. And a lot of real estate sources are predicting that the real estate prices will stay flat or increase several percentage points in the next coming year and beyond. Yeah, so even with the drastic changes from a mortgage rate of 3% to 8% in the past 2 or 3 years, home prices we have not seen a housing crash. We barely saw a slight housing correction. So go figure, right?
So can you share maybe how that would affect or how that would maybe motivate someone to get into the real estate investing with all the data that you've just shown?
You have 2 types of buyers. You have primary home buyers and you have real estate investors. And of course, you and I, we cater to our real estate investors platform, if you will. But the primary homeowners is going to be very tough to successful navigate this current housing market. For real estate investors, there are still opportunities out there. The impact is there will be less demand, there will be less buyers, there will be less investors because of this elevated mortgage rate. But in terms of, like I mentioned before, the lock-in effect, the supply of inventory will continue to be a challenge. So few homes for sale, and it's 8% mortgage rate. It just has frozen the housing market, and transaction has been limited, simply not enough supply of inventory. And
Right.
yeah. So did I answer your question or?
That's good. That's good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Based on the median price today of a little bit less than $400,000 nationwide and elevated mortgage rate, one would need, according to Redfin, our home buyers must earn around $115,000 annual salary to afford today's typical median price of a home around $400K. And so that's a pretty mind-boggling no matter how you look at it.
That is interesting. Wow.
Yeah. So
recent publication too. Yeah, October.
Right. All these are absolutely. And then, of course, now because of those reasons, according to this chart, it's cheaper to rent than to buy. As you can see the trajectory here. So that's what's happening. So a lot of people, they cannot buy because they do not qualify or whatever. They are those potential home buyers out there. They have to enter the rental pool. And because the difference between a homeowner versus a renter, homeowner, whether you're an investor or primary homeowner, you're locked in a 30-year fixed rate mortgage, and your mortgage payment will never go up But if you're a renter, you don't have a fixed rate rent. Your rent goes up.
Very good point. Yeah, that's a really good point. I think it really benefits. I think what you're saying is if you already own rentals, you're in a really good position because even if somebody moves out, there's 10 other people that want to move in. So I think that really is a benefit of already owning something right now.
Yeah, I will get to that point momentarily on my presentation slash. So that's alluding to that. So we are speaking for our real investors, whether you are experienced real investor or if you are a newbie real investor, and you want to buy rental properties, you and I could agree that right now is just as good time as any to become a landlord investor because of these trends that we are seeing, that we are headed to. According to Ken McElroy, he's one of the real estate gurus out there. I follow his podcast quite a bit over the years, Ken McElroy, and he said, based on rental trends and where the housing prices are headed, and you're looking at the right measure, we're headed to a nation of renters. And so for every 1 percentage point higher mortgage rate, there will be 1 million people are moving into the rental pool. Okay, because the mortgage rate has elevated to 0.8% right now. Early this year, the mortgage rate were a mere 6% or something. Last year, we had 3%. So interest rate past years have increased dramatically. And now you see the number. So we have millions more people becoming renters. They cannot no longer own. Furthermore, this article, I believe, is not correct. Housing affordability is not 33-year low. These are at least 40-year low. Housing.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because right now in 2023, less people are able to afford a home at today's mortgage rate and today's median price of a home. So because of housing affordability is in a historical times, once again, it's just putting more and more people to become a renter, and that bodes well with real estate investor landlords.
Right.
Rents are rising faster than income because of inflation. If the rent rises at 5 to 7% or on an annual basis, for example, and income rise only at 25%, a lot of pressure on savings. Renters are really their budget are being impacted because of inflation and rising rents. And there's a lot of survey that has been done recently by various organizations, and I'm showing just one chart right here stating that a lot of surveys, a lot of renters are saying that homes are too expensive. People in the Gen Z category and people like the millennials out there, as much as they would like to own a home, they cannot afford it. Again, based on what we just discussed. Home price too high, and the mortgage rate is too high. So here are the surveys. We're not going to go over the details of this chart, but people watching this video can pause this slideshow and dive deep into the result of this particular survey. And another survey by Redfin, 1 in 5 millennial respondents believe that they will never own a home. Yeah, it's very sad. And here's my highlights here. The rental market will be strong for years to come. Right? That is my belief based on my research and my data. And my thoughts are, and I'm going to ask you to share your thoughts. There's a shortage of single family homes to rent because that's the way it is. There will be bidding wars for renting. Tenants will stay longer. Landlords, investors will raise their rental rates, resulting in higher cash flow for landlords, investors, and vacancy rates and problem tenants will be minimized because landlords, they can handpick better high quality tenants. And so that will result in less wear and tear, less maintenance, less evictions, and whatever. And so what are your thoughts on that slideshow I just presented?
It's interesting. I'm seeing the fruit or kind of the results of that mindset with renters. There's a recent project that was built in Pasadena. It's a 180 unit high rise. And they're called micro units. And so really, they're like 245 square feet, not much bigger than a cruise ship cabin. It's a studio with a little kitchenette and a bathroom. But these things are moving like hotcakes. And they're charging $1,600, $1,700 a month rent for something that's not much bigger than a bedroom. So I think anybody that has real estate that's got money to put into real estate is going to profit. Because I couldn't imagine living in something that's small, but a lot of people do because that's all they can afford. That's all they can afford.
Yeah, I know the housing market is broken because the local government not helping. It's just so hard, and
right,
especially in California, like you just said, you live in Southern California,
right,
and I live in the Service Suburb area. Yeah, this housing crisis will persist for a long time to come because there's really very little solutions out there. It's just very sad, and I'm sad for a lot of people that want to achieve the American dream, the home ownership.
Right.
But
It's hard. It's hard.
Yeah, so that's very sad. All right, let's get back to the slideshow here. Okay, now let's go over our housing market, my network market. We have a team. People now there. If you're first time person watching this video, just let you know that we have a relationship with the various housing markets, turnkey markets, where we have vetted those housing prices in different markets. And it's a turnkey one-stop approach. So I'm gonna do a walkthrough, and Julie, you understand my markets very well. You've been my member for several years now. So let's do a high-level deep dive into the numbers. How as landlord benefit from this so-called land renters nation out there.
Right.
So let's start with Niagara Falls, which you feel very comfortable about because you purchased 6 rental property here, and although the numbers right here or not doesn't jump off the chart, but the future is right. So this property, if you put 25% down payment, even at 7.5% mortgage rate, because of the current rent versus the home, the price ratio is very attractive.
Right.
Yes, your monthly cash flow is only $143. But again, the purpose of today's presentation, given that there will be more people becoming renters these days, it'll put pressure on increasing the rents.
Yes.
Yeah. With that in mind, we expect to see, of course, you and I, we don't have a crystal ball, right? We only project. So this small monthly net cash flow of 143, this particular scenario is bound to get higher because not only inflation will cause rent to go higher, but because there are more renters that enter the rental pool than there are available homes for rent, we have to assume that this rent of $825 in this case higher. So consequently, in the next few years and beyond, we have to believe that this cash flow will increase over time. So what are your thoughts?
I think that you made a comment about the minimal cash flow, but I think the bigger point is it is cash flowing and your tenant is paying the mortgage. So it's not, in the long run, it's not costing you anything. I think, again, I want to call attention to the price. I'm from Southern California. I've been here my whole life. you can't buy a driveway in Southern California for $67,000. So that's something that your audience should take notice of. There are properties. If you look at the picture, you look at the neighborhood, it looks like it's maybe B minus neighborhood. So it's a fairly decent neighborhood. It's a nice little property. I actually looked at this property when I was buying, but it wasn't ready when we were ready to make a decision. And I think you look at the down payment. It's just like barely over $15,000 that you would have to come up with in order to get a cash flowing property that I will call it set it and forget it. Once you make the decision to buy it, we've got a strong management team in Niagara Falls that's working with us, and you've got yourself an income producing property and the rents will go up. So that's something that people should be reminded of too. It won't always be $143 a month. It will go up as the rents increase.
Exactly. We have other videos we have done together where you buy a property. There are 5 ways to make money. Cash just one way. So you're not going to spend your time here. Right. We don't have the time to spend on this video to talk about the other ways to make money, but suffice to say, cash flow is a core principle you need to achieve at the start of the investment journey. Then any type of appreciation will be icing on a cake. But for the lack of time, that's also the other market, how the numbers going to change based on getting the more renters in. Purpose of this presentation. So our Alabama market, same way. Buy a $200,000 property, single family home. We have property rents for $1,550 right now. We have a buyer's rate buy down, which is an amazing benefit. That's the advantage of it. We're getting, as far as invest, you're getting a 5.375% 30-year fixed rate mortgage as an incentive. Right? That lower your mortgage payment. Lower your mortgage payment. Otherwise, look, if you buy this property on your own without any kind of buyer rate buy down incentive, then you can have a negative cash flow situation. But because you are able to get this, be part of a network, you get a incentive of buyer's rate buy down 5.375% and getting a
$234 on the cash flow. That's great.
$234 monthly cash flow. Starting point again with the expectation of the rental market being stronger. You have more renters nation. This monthly cash flow will increase steadily in 2 years. Plus the typical rental rates increase in conjunction with the inflation. So therefore, this number will gradually turn out to be really good. So that's what I'm trying to say. Then let's go over our other market, another market in Central Texas. In Central Texas, we have this example of our San Antonio property, or this kind of property, or typical single family home in San Antonio and outside Austin, like 1 hour above and below Austin. We have properties available, new construction. We buy for around $300,000. The rent is $1,950, gross rent, which is very, very good. And again, we have a builder incentive. The builder going to buy down the rate for you, which is amazing. Take advantage of it because this buy down incentive not going to be around forever. So you get a 4.75% mortgage rate, 30-year fixed rate mortgage, which is amazing. Allow the cash flow, only $181. Otherwise, you cannot cash flow with this market based on without any buyer rate buy down. Again, the renters nation scenario, they have more renters bidding for this kind of home in the future. So expected cash flow could be higher and so forth. So it's a good value proposition, good starting point. And then our fourplex new construction in Annapolis, Texas, which is South Texas, our new market, which is truly amazing. And who can find a brand new fourplex in a fast growing market such as in South Texas, or quads, 4 units, 4 doors, only $525K, and each door you rent for $1,300 times 4, so your gross rent is $5,300. There's no buyer's rate buy down in this particular market because the builder are not willing to give any incentive because the cash flow is high as it is. But even at a 7.3% 30-year fixed rate mortgage to finance this quad, you still could achieve a monthly cash flow of $1,000.
Right. That's amazing.
That's
awesome.
That is absolutely awesome, to be honest. There's no other new construction fourplex anywhere in the country at this low price, at this gross rent on all four doors, and fast growing housing market on top of that. And imagine you take the rate today and marry property.
That's
2
right.
4 years later, whenever the mortgage rate comes down to 6, 5.5%, guess what? You can refinance.
Right.
When you refinance, your cash flow gonna increase 1,000 to around 1,500. And then with the expected rental rate increase of 5% per year, the next 2 years and beyond, your cash flow could be even higher than 1,500 plus. Plus, because of the abundance of renters, bidding war by renters, the Renters Nation, the purpose of today's title presentation.
Right.
So very quickly, this $1,000 monthly net cash flow could be in the next 2, 3, 4 years, could be up to $2,000. Am I being realistic or unrealistic?
That's life-changing money. And that's money that you don't have to work for. Passive income. It's going to come every month as long as you have the property.
Absolutely. And finally, our amazing Florida new construction market, we have 8 locations. Okay. Again, I'm not going to go over details. We have a great selection of new construction, cash flow properties, single family home, duplex, fourplex in all these 8 locations, all fast growing, low affordability for right now. This is the final frontier of Florida penetration of the submarkets. This property in Central Florida, Ocala, which I have a property there. Right now, this price is $264. You're getting a rate buy down of 4.75%. The buyer is paying most of the points. This is a one-time amazing incentive.
That is awesome.
For investors not to take advantage of this rate buy down right now, you can regret it 3, 4, 5, 6 years later.
Right.
You can say, should have, could have, would have, whatever.
Yes.
With the rate buy down of this amount, you still can cash flow almost $300. So a good benchmark to begin with. Again, same scenario with the rental rate increase, with the bidding war by renters, your cash flow and the gross rent on this single family home is expected to increase quite consistently year over year for the next few years and beyond. Another duplex, similar same area, a duplex in Ocala, only $379K, already collecting $2,600 on the 2 doors. Again, you're getting the great buyer's rate buy down. And again, this monthly cash flow of $526 will have to increase, assuming what we just discussed with the historic Renters Nation and rental rate increases and what have you. So this monthly cash flow will increase quite consistently for the next few years. And finally, there's our fourplex here in Jacksonville, Florida, which is rare to have a new construction fourplex in the country, especially for this price in less than $800,000, 4 doors, collecting $5,300 rent. Same thing, you get the great buyers buy down, rate buy down, and good monthly cash flow of $1,000. Very good benchmark starting point. Just like the one in South Texas, the quad, the cash flow is bound to increase. How cool is that?
It's great. It's really great. There's just so many different advantages to owning property in other parts of the country, not necessarily where you live.
Absolutely. And again, you and I, Warren Buffett says, be fearful when everybody's waiting, be greedy when everybody's fearful. Right now, people are fearful. Yeah. So capitalize and be greedy in a good way, Buster. So that's really, we have just touched one component, right? Which is the cash flow component, which is And yet, all the trends, all the data that you and I share in today's video, take advantage of this. Really, you could have so many great high quality tenants that could be knocking down your doors as landlords.
Yes.
And you get the pick of the leader. You can do your property management. You can pre-screen the best tenant.
Yes.
This tenant is staying at your home for 2 or 3 years at a time. That is, money in your pocket.
Right.
That's how you grow wealth, buying a cash flow property and understand what's happening in our real estate market. I know there's a lot of crisis going on in the very challenging housing market. As a landlord investor, we are in the winner's circle. So
I agree with that.
right now, it's the best time to buy, even with a higher mortgage rate. As an investor, we use the right network. My network, we got the builder incentive. If you fall down your rate, what more can you ask for?
Right. And I don't think people understand how powerful that is. That the builder, because you're getting that brand new construction, and the builder is willing to buy down your 30-year interest rate. That's huge.
Yep. That's right. Absolutely. And so my takeaway is, Julie, is that this kind of portfolio, this kind of strategies, again, there's no excuses. If you have to, of course, if an investor have the money, you have cash reserve, you do your due diligence, buy in the right market, you surround yourself with the right team, you invest over time, and even there's additional benefit of getting a lot more renters than we normally would get because it's a historic renters nation.
Right.
So all the situation, put yourself in the right time. Something. So that's my takeaway. So what you find?
I think now is the right time. Because really, even though I was reflecting back on the statistics that you were showing and how the market's got up and down and the equity position and everything, but the bottom line is long term, there's no better investment than real estate. There just isn't. And it doesn't really matter what kind of market that you buy in, if it's gloom and doom or rising. It doesn't really matter because long term you're going to do well. I think the point that you drove home, I think that would be most critical for an investor is that there is an overabundance of renters in the market. And so there's really no need to fear. Like, I think a lot of times people, well, what if I buy it and I don't rent it out for 6 months? Not going to happen in this market. That's not going to happen in this market. So we just had to do an eviction earlier in the year, and he was not kind to the property. Our management team got it fixed up very quickly, and really before they could finish fixing it up, they had a family moving in. There's no problem with long-term vacancies, not for any time soon, I believe, based on the information that you've provided.
Yep, I totally agree. Well, anyway, as we conclude this, thank you everyone for watching. For those YouTube people out there, if you see any kind of value whatsoever, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. For our members of our network organization, hopefully you receive value. And right now is a great time to pull the trigger. And long-term wise, you're not going to regret it. And your financial freedom is on the other side. All right?
Absolutely.
Yep. Thank you so much. This is Seewing Yee and Jody. Thank you so much for attending. Have a nice day, everyone. Bye-bye.